Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. Welcome to Advocate Information Highway. I'm your host, Anthony Lorito-Duke, and we have very interesting topics for today's show in which it is uh, parades and protests. So let's get right into this. You know, Yesterday was a very busy day for America. Very busy day because throughout the country, there were a lot of protests going on. The No Kings protests and Um, it was throughout many cities and many states throughout the country, including Washington, D.C., Florida, and so many other cities and states as well. And the thing is, in many of those states, I'm not saying all, but in many of those states and cities, protesters were blocking traffic. Now, as much as I'm all for advocacy and people have a right to protest, but pretty much all of my fans out there know that I'm completely against blocking traffic. I'm against that 100%. I'm also against blocking sidewalks. But here's the thing. If you're going to do your protest, do it along the sidewalks, but keep your rear ends moving and move fast. Keep it going. And yes, get your permits, work with the local police departments and saying this is the route that we're going to be taking and walk along the sidewalks and walk fast. And work with the local police departments so that way when you guys have to cross the streets, you have the police there to help you move your rear ends fast across the streets. Because you have a lot of idiots out there that walk walk so slowly that like I don't care about traffic. I don't care about traffic. BS. You gotta care about people driving too. They just want to get from point A to point B. That's it. All right. So you want to get your points across, you want to do your advocacy, you want to do your protest, fine. You're entitled to do your protests, but you're not entitled to be blocking traffic. You're not entitled to be blocking sidewalks. You're not. So keep your rear end moving fast, walk fast, and that way you still get um, to do your advocacy. You still get to do your protests, and people won't be blocking traffic. Drivers can move swiftly and stuff like that. So then everybody gets what they want. Seriously. And yesterday's weather was disgustingly horrible in many states. It was pouring rain and everything, and people were still doing their protests and stuff. And I give them thumbs up for doing that. You guys are warriors. Seriously. And here's the other thing. Like in the state of Florida, Governor DeSantis gave permission for drivers to ram right through protesters that are blocking streets and everything. So he gave them permission to do so, especially if these drivers fear for their lives, and you're going to see many drivers running over the protesters and everything and ramming right through, and they're going to say, "I fear for my life," and so it's going to end up happening. This is not going to end well. So, like I said, you don't want that to happen. Don't block the streets. Pure common sense. Pure common sense. The protesters need to get their permits. They need to work with the local police departments. Tell them, listen, this is the route we're going to be taking. And then that way, um, you just keep your rear ends moving fast. And when they have and work with the police departments and saying when we have to cross the streets, we want to do it safely and swiftly. meaning fast, and keep it moving. Seriously, because there's a just as much as there's going to be, a lot of people on the road driving, and you got to, not block traffic. And at the same time, there's going to be many people that need to use the sidewalks that have like walkers, wheelchairs, canes, and you can't be blocking the sidewalks uh, for them either. You can't be blocking sidewalks at all either. So you got to keep your rear ends moving. Seriously. So, and that way, everybody's happy. Everybody gets what they want then. So, but also at the same time, uh, yesterday was a big day in Washington, D.C. After the protests were done, it was the parade for the United States Army's 250th anniversary. 250 years our United States Army has been there. And to all the men and women in the US military altogether, you know, no matter which branch of military they're in, thank you guys. You guys put your lives on the line for us and for this great country every single day. So thank you, and thank you for your services. And but at the same time, this parade in Washington, D.C., uh, it was really for Trump's birthday. Okay. Even though he's not going to really admit to it, because he's going to say, "Oh no, no, it was for the United States Army. It's the 250th anniversary." And at the same time, it was really for his birthday, and that's what he really wanted it for. He wanted it for his ego, for his birthday, his 79th birthday. Because this man, Trump, he doesn't really give a damn about the men and women, the men and women in the United States military. He doesn't give a damn about them. Remember that when he called the POWs and the MIAs, and the veterans that have passed away. Remember when he called them suckers and losers? Remember that, right? And look at he's taken away funding from the VA. He's taken away funding for them. Seriously. So he doesn't really give a damn about our men and women in the military. He doesn't give a damn about them. He only cares about himself. So let's keep this 100. Seriously. You know, and even though he wants to pretend that it's for the military, it's to honor them, baloney. That's a lie. He's really doing it for his ego, for his birthday, so he can be as many people, many of his followers out there, all he wants. But for everybody else that has intelligence, you know, we know the truth. He did it for his ego. He did it for his birthday. That's what he really wanted it for. Because let's think about it this way. In Trump's first presidency, for his first 4 years, he didn't do any parade for the military. He didn't do any parade for the military. So why all of a sudden does he want to do it now? All of a sudden, you know. So call him out for his garbage. Seriously. So keeping it 100, Trump only wanted that parade for himself, for his ego. That's all he wanted it for. for his birthday. That was it. Not for the military, for our men and women in uniform who serve this great country, who put their lives on the line every day for this great country. He didn't do it for them. So now let's get to the other part of today's show's topic. The other parades that have been going on throughout this great country, and throughout many cities and states of the United States, there have been a lot of pride parades because this is Pride Month, right? And it's so wonderful to see these pride parades where everybody is showing love for one another and people being happy and laughing and enjoying themselves. And that's a great thing to see because you know what? We already have so many negative things going on in today's society. So to see all these pride parades and stuff happening and people being happy, it's a wonderful thing to see. It truly is. And coming from someone like myself who has been fighting for equality, especially for the LGBT community for so long, you know, I fought for marriage equality. And for the area that I live in, I was one of many, many people that have fought to help open the very first Pride Center in the city that I live in. And it was an honor to do so. It's an honor to do so. And excuse me 1 minute. Um, you know, and it's so good to see people enjoying themselves and just showing love for one another. And even little children are enjoying the pride parades. And that's one of the other biggest joys to see the smiles on those little kids' faces. Honestly, you know, but again, as someone who has also fought for marriage equality, I'm truly blessed to have such a wonderful man in my life. You know, I have a great husband and I love him so much. And I'd be damned if I'd be letting anybody take away my marriage rights. Seriously. So it was wonderful to see all these pride parades, and June is definitely not over yet. We're still in like the well, this is going to be like the third week of I'm sorry of June. Sorry, June. I said July by accident. I think for the month of June, we're in like the third week of June, and there's still going to be many more pride parades throughout the United States, and it's just so wonderful to see all these pride parades. I love watching it on social media and stuff like that. And you know, you guys, these agencies that hold all these pride parades, they do so much great work. And I say, keep up that great work. And so with that, I want to remind all my fans out there about my website, Advocate Information Highway. The link to there is AIHNY.com. Again, that's AIHNY.com. You guys can check out all the pages on there. And again, just a reminder, I have changed my website around. I took away the store page of my website and I added 2 additional pages so far. And which one of the new pages is my internet store on Zazzle.com. And the other additional page is for the books that I wrote and that are up for sale on Amazon. So you guys can check out all those pages on there. And so with that, take care, everybody. Bye.